Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. Hope you're all doing well. Give a warning to any new viewers or just viewers in general. If you're offended by strong language or discussions that are sometimes graphic, then you're on the wrong channel. And this is your warning to leave. So I want to talk about a recent farm attack, and if for some reason you have no idea about what's going on with the farm attacks and the white genocide in South Africa, then you need to watch other videos. You can watch some of my own or just look it up on YouTube. This video is not to educate those who are completely lost because of the media blackout and the deliberate attempts to hide this from the world, but there are other videos for that. This video, I want to talk about a recent farm attack that happened May 13th. It was in a place called Bonnievale, South Africa. It's on the Western Cape. And it had to do with and again, just in case you're new, these farm attacks are racist attacks. These are the white minority in South Africa being slaughtered in numbers of 30 to 40 a month by the black majority in South Africa for various reasons that are explained in other videos. But this was a husband and a wife farmer who were good Christian people, good farmers providing food for the population. Everybody that knows them or knew everybody that knows these people had nothing but good things to say about them. They certainly didn't deserve what happened to them. But the bottom line was they were murdered, or the husband was murdered and the wife was brutally injured and is lucky to be alive. And it got pretty barbaric, like most of these do. These are not people that come into your house and shoot you in the head and kill you. That would be bad enough if they were exterminating them. Oops, I'm so sorry. If they were exterminating white people the way that Hitler was exterminating the Jews, that would be terrible and tragic, and it would be a genocide just like all other genocides. What makes this scenario so different, not this murder, but the genocide taking place in South Africa, is that for various reasons, the murders are very long, they're drawn out, they're horrific, and they're meant to cause immense suffering. Some of these murders can take up to 5 and 6 hours. So by the time you lose your life, that's the best part of the experience, because little 6-month-old babies are raped to death in front of the parents, who are tied up and forced to watch. People's eyelids are cut off so that they can watch they have no choice but to watch their wives be raped and slowly tortured and burned. Babies burned with irons and everything you can imagine. So let's talk about the one that just happened here in Bonnievale. And in fact, what I'm going to do is, and I'm sorry for the motion of the camera, I've got to hold my cell phone when I read this, but I'm in touch with a lot of people in South Africa, and bear in mind that the Western world, the Western media, is deliberately keeping this from you. It's keeping this from the world because of many reasons, but the number one reason, in my opinion, is that the victims are white, and it is not politically correct these days to give a shit about white people who are being slaughtered. Because let's face it, liberals and communists and self-hating white people, they have this belief that we have it coming, that white people have it coming because we've all been so bad. All of us in America own slaves, and all of the whites that were born and raised in South Africa were part of apartheid and part of whatever else it is that they, this asshole leader, Julius Melanoma or Julius Malema, whatever, him and his people are forcing down the throats of the majority of the black population, teaching them a fake history, using them like pawns, like all communists do. They use the population as useful idiots and use them to keep shit stirred up so that they can stay in power and steal money and move on with their corruption. But anyways, I got a letter, some thoughts. I think it was the day after this murder happened, so that would have been May 14th. And this is from a friend of mine in South Africa. And he says to me, this is what he sent to me. And I want to read it because it's important that you hear it. And then I'm going to leave a clip. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can watch a video where I believe the daughter is interviewed. It's a video that's on YouTube, but it'll give you some more technical details about it'll fill you in on it's sort of like it's a news story on the event. I hear a weird echo in here. It's odd. Hopefully you're not hearing it. So here's what my buddy writes to me, and it's important that you hear it. The Lord has to help me this morning to understand how, and then forgive me, the font is very small. The Lord has to help me this morning to understand how so much cruelty and evil can be in people, as during the recent farm attack on Bonnievale in the Western Cape, because I don't understand it. And it inevitably leaves a powerless bitterness in one you didn't ask for. It's not nice for me at all to think about my fellow man with resentment. Imagine the following situation. You and your wife are sitting alone, and this is what happened. You and your wife are sitting alone. A few of your workers who, according to all other staff, treat you with the greatest care, love, and respect, these are black workers that are employed by this farmer, suddenly burst into the house and attack you. People you know, people you've been working with for a long time, people who treat you like your other workers so well that they describe you and your wife as dear people. Excuse me. I think the initial big shock is disbelief, the unreality of what's happening. Grace, it's people we work with every day, people for whom I care. Last night we greeted each other kindly before leaving home. It can't be. You are bumped around, clapped. Remember, these are South Africans and they use different terms, but, clapped is hit. You are bumped. Let's see, where did I go here? Oh my God. Let's see. You are bumped around, clapped, hit with fist. Your wife starts to cry and beg, but it only fires the cruelty. Two hold you from behind, while the one man with whom you've always got along with well opens a pocket knife and repeatedly stabs you. You are trying to kick off your attackers, but the blows rain down on you, in your chest, your arms, your face. You don't feel the pain, but you can see how the blood splashes over everything about you and your attacker, who kindly greeted you yesterday afternoon. On the floor, the clean carpet, the furniture covered with blood. The shock and disbelief make you feel like you're in something like a vacuum, whether you look at something that happens to be someone else. You become aware of your wife's hysterical screams, but the louder she shouts, the harder the one hits her in the face with a revolver. It's your wife, and you are powerless. They want money, jewels, weapons. Someone told them that there's a fortune in the safe and they want it. You open the safe amidst the blows that rain down upon you, and you show them there's virtually nothing inside. This has the opposite effect. Now they are angry. Their eyes become wild. They start screaming. The violence is increasing. The money has to be somewhere. You hide it. We want it. The house is being wrecked. Notwithstanding the persistent torture, they get nothing. It is as if they are starting to accept that there is no hidden treasure anywhere. You finally get courage Now they see there is nothing. Thank you, Lord. It will stop now. In other words, you hope that it'll end now because they know there's nothing. They're going to leave us, but that doesn't happen. The hysteria has made way for something else, a cold, cold evil that you've never experienced. You and your wife are tied to chairs, one across from the other so you can see each other, as if the cruelty has been practiced. Because if it is not exercised, it is innate. Do you think surprisingly bright while it happens? I'll do anything, and you can kill me. Just let my wife go. I beg you. We were just fine for you. We treated you just fine, didn't we? I'll do anything, and you can kill me. Just let my wife go. I beg you. They don't grin. They stay silent. Or I'm sorry. They grin. Stay silent, you dog. Today we show you who's the boss. One step to your beloved gentle wife with a kettle full of boiling water in his hand. Her body snatched from sobs, but no sound came from her mouth anymore. She was sitting quietly where she was firmly tied, and this is where they torture the wife with pots of boiling water. And you'll see all this on the news clip, or you'll hear about it. Okay, she was sitting quietly where she was firmly tied. Then the man who greeted her so kindly every day slowly starts to pour the boiling water on her head. She desperately tries to pull her head away, but the steamy water stays over her head, about her face, in her eyes, over her cheeks, her back, her breast. It forms a pool in her lap where her tightly tied legs, you can see her face and neck blush with redness in the water, and it looks like the skin of her cheek and neck are beginning to strip off. Oh God, it can't be true. Say it's just a dream. Please, Lord, that's not my wife who's being burned in front of me like that. Then you become aware of the voices again, and it's coming from a haze. You hear the laugh. The money is now forgotten. For the attackers, the robbery has now taken another dimension. It's turned into a display of power, an orgy of torture and animal-like cruelty. The man is encouraged to still boil more water. As he walks away, another approaches with a chest full of tools. He takes out the drill. They talk to each other again, and you hear them laughing. Now the attention is on you. Two hold your head while one screws the thickest drill bit into the drill. It's probably about like this big, those big drill bits. He switches it on and puts the adjustment on hammer action. You can hear it. Again, the laughter. You do not feel as the drill bit slowly slips through your kneecap. You just feel the vibration in your head, through your brain. You become aware of your wife's eyes. The red, full of fear and horror. Don't look, don't look. You're trying so much, but the words can't form. You smell the drill bit, the meat, the skull burning as it turns and turns. Back to the farm attack on Monday night in Bonnievale, where Mr. Toole Wessel was shot dead after hours of torture outside his home. Just dressed in his underpants, a tie tightly pulled through his mouth. His wife, Laezel, survived. She got loose while the men were with Todd, were out of the house, where he was further tortured and finally murdered. She managed to get away with her car in time to seek help. It hurts me to describe an incident so graphically, but I'm not sorry. This must be done. Read it and read it again. Send it to friends, because that's what really happened. Over 25 years, we heard so much about farm attacks and read their reality and their depravity, like reading a review of another thriller, something that doesn't really happen. Well, this really happened, and much more cruel than I could ever describe in words. We must start to realize it. Through my work, I visited many scenes and farm attacks and spoke to many victims and survivors. And what I describe above is almost identical incidents that took place outside of Pretoria a year ago, or years ago. The woman later told me how it was played. The people really did laugh while burning with boiled water, and holes in her husband's hands and head were drilled. She was still happy. She was not raped and boiled alive, as often happens, even with pregnant women. The horror stories are endless. Even her husband was probably lucky to not have seen it before being delivered from his suffering by death. It really happens. The incident above Monday night happened Bonnievale, West Cape, on the farm Capin's Drift, with precious people like you and me. Always be alert. It doesn't just happen to others. So what they did to that farmer was they drilled him with a drill in his kneecaps and legs, and ultimately they drilled both of his eyes out while he was still alive, and were drilling into his head, and I think eventually they shot and killed him after they took him outside and tortured him more. People need to know this is going on, and people don't know what's going on because it's being kept from us. You've got people, members of the EFF and all these other people that the ANC and just these racist black people in South Africa who do their best to try to get videos like this shut down. And the truth is, this is really no different than the Holocaust that took place in Europe when the Jews were being slaughtered. This is the same thing, but they're white people, so we're not supposed to notice and we're not supposed to care. Please, if you're just new to this subject, research South African farm attacks. Watch other videos. Watch a video by Laura Southern called Farmlands, I think. I think it's called Farmlands. Watch some of my videos that have South Africa in the title. Do your homework, do your research. You have an obligation at the very least to be aware of what's going on in the world when it's an atrocity against people that's based on race, color, religion. These people happen to be white, so that doesn't mean that we shy away, and it doesn't mean we're racist because we pull close and care. All right, we're all humans and we're all in this life together, and don't let these people keep this under the fucking blanket. You send this to everybody you know, and don't forget to look in the description and click that link. And my brothers and sisters in South Africa, God bless you. I pray for you every day, and we're not going to stop doing whatever it is we can do until the situation is resolved one way or the other. Stay safe. LMS Tactical, I'm out.